Welcome to the channel, guys. So today's going to be a quick project. I have my beater trailer here that I use to haul stones around the property with the ATV. It finally has picked up a flat because of dry rot on the tire. And as you can see, we have to change out the tires and get this thing back in operation. I bought this to absolutely beat the shit out of it, so I really don't care too much about refinishing the rim and how it looks. It's pretty much going to be a throwaway trailer once I'm done hauling all the stones for the stone wall around here on the property. But anyways, I'm replacing it with these guys here. These are brand new, not 18-inch, but 16-inch tall, 6.5 wide, and 8-inch rim. And I'll be using my brand new tire machine to put these on. I'll try to do them a manual style with the lever, as well as use the automatic Duckhead on this new machine, which is great. So we're gonna show you both methods and you know, kind of do it the proper way. I see a lot of videos on YouTube, people using C-clamps and vice grips and levers and screwdrivers and just things that aren't meant to be put on rims and tires just because they want to get the job done, which I can understand, but we're going to demonstrate here in this video the more proper way to remove these, like, you know, lawn tractor tires or tractor tires for like your lawnmower. These are pretty much like the same size you would see on like a John Deere on the front. And there's different applications, obviously. But let's go ahead and get these things ready and put them on the machine, and I'll show you what the setup's like. All right, so here is the wheel assembly off the trailer. I discovered that this is actually does have a tube inside of it, but I'm going to try to replace it with a tubeless tire. Now, I should be able to do that. Hopefully the rims aren't rusty to the point where they're not going to seal or anything or give me problems. But I'm going to go show you guys the setup I have here on the tire machine so I can clamp on this 8-inch rim because normally the tire machine can only go down to 12 inches. So, and also a trick I used here for breaking the beads on this because they were kind of stubborn and they're rusty. And there is some kind of height difference between this kind of tire and your normal tire you would do in a car or a truck. So let me show you that setup right now. So this is what I had to do to break the bead on the smaller diameter tire. I had to put a coffee jug as a spacer in the bottom and a 4x4 on the inside to give me the distance away from the machine, because what was happening is the piston was coming in and pulling in, and it was at its extent of its stroke, the full extent, and it still wasn't compressing the bead enough because this is typically used for wider rims and wheel assemblies. So because this is a 6.5, there wasn't enough stroke on the piston. So this is how I had to compensate it. Just simply offset it with a piece of 4x4 wood up against the rim, and then you can come in and break the bead with the shovel, both sides, and then it came loose just like that. Super easy. On top of here, I have these special adapters that actually can increase and or decrease the size of the jaw style clamps here. So right now this can go right down to 8 inches because of the offset built into this bracket or this assembly. So you can adjust these thumb wheels here and put them to the front here and reverse this whole thing and reverse the actual mounting pad here to the point where you can get it to increase or decrease in size. So it's really universal, and I like how it's reversible. It's a great heavy-duty attachment to do power sport wheels and motorcycle wheels. This is actually essentially used for motorcycles when you have it reversed in the opposite direction, 180 degrees. That way you can clear sprockets and brake rotors and put them in the center. So this is the setup I'm using. I just went ahead and protected this a little bit better because I just don't want to beat the shit out of these pads, and I prefer not to just replace them often. I like to keep them in good condition. So because this is a rusty wheel, I'm just going to protect that from getting all beat up. That way when I use this for other stuff, it's not going to be all chewed up and have rust in it. So that's the setup. As you can see, they're extremely stout, heavy-duty, robust adapter for increasing and decreasing the size of the jaw clamp. They just simply attach onto the clamp itself and then you just tighten this down. These here underneath the tape is 2 screws that you can unbolt, and there's a nut on the other side, and you just would reverse that if you wanted to switch directions. So these guys right here will come in handy for many other jobs. I'm glad I had them. I mean, I'm glad I bought them for the machine. And let's get to mounting up the tire. Actually, first removing the tire from this 8-inch rim and putting on the new one. Alright guys, so this first wheel I'm going to try with just levers and just pull the thing off that way. Dry, no lube, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then the second tire, I'm going to dismount and mount with the automatic Duckhead just to show you how that works. But let's go ahead now and pull this guy off, just the traditional method that most of you guys would use. We're just going to find that bead, get a nice crevice, a nice gap that we can fit into with the lever, and then we're just going to work our way around. As you saw that, I pulled the lever from the center of the 2 outer ones, and I'm using that one to work our way around. Alright, and at this point we should be almost broken free. It's still a little bit stubborn, it's dry, that's okay. We'll just shove another lever in there and pull it out. Just keep on working our way around. There we go. Alright, so that is broken loose. Now we're going to have to do the same thing for the bottom. So let's go ahead and remove this tube from the inside of this. This thing is absolutely disgusting. It actually popped because of the tube, not because of the tire. But then the tire gave way, obviously, because the tube just ruptured. So let's get this out of here. Just make sure that bottom bead is in the drop center of the rim. That way it gives you extra freedom so you can pull the actual bead off. All right, there we go. This thing is pretty disgusting. I don't know if you can see in there, but that rim is just fully covered in crap. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this thing up, get it all prepped up, cleaned for the new tire. All right, so let's do the second wheel now. I'm going to go ahead and break this down and pull it off. This time we're going to use the automatic Duckhead, and we're going to try that method. But first we're going to have to go clamp this down, and I like to use the assist arm to push the rim down, because right now it doesn't want to grab on the bottom easily. You have to push the center of the rim down so it engages the rim clamp underneath. So I'll come down, just put a little bit of pressure with the centering cone. This here is an attachment, cone-shaped attachment that goes in the bottom of the pusher, and then it essentially will help you assist pushing the rim down on low-profile tires and a little bit, tougher tires. Not to say that this is a tough tire, but it helps just settling that in the right position before you go ahead and clamp down on the rim. It basically allows it to fall into place better. Once you start clamping and release this, it's going to automatically push this down into that spot perfectly, as you can see. So I'll go ahead and double check all the way around to make sure we're seated. And this time we're going to drop down the automatic Duckhead and adjust for the size. Luckily enough, this thing extends out to an 8-inch diameter rim, which is perfect. I lock it down by pressing the button here. It automatically locks the head on here, so it's ready to go. And now it's a matter of operating the Duckhead. So I'm going to have to switch camera positions to show you that. Alright, so here we have the Duckhead set up. I had to offset this just a little bit because of the size of this rim. Normally you would use this for a 15-inch or larger diameter wheel, and it would be fine. But since this is such a small diameter tire and rim that I'm trying to dismount and mount on here, I had to play with the offset and bring this up a little bit so it wouldn't hit the rim. But anyways, I'm going to show you how this leverless Duckhead works, and it's going to pull the tire off and dismount that tire with ease. I'm not going to use any lube. I'm just going to go straight dry on this because I really don't care about these wheels and tires that much. So that's it going all the way down, pulling it back up, but we have to engage the bead right now and push it into the drop center. And typically on a larger diameter, you could just run this back and forth this way or that way, and it'll pop onto this Duckhead, this lever by itself. But since this is like a much smaller diameter rim and tire that it's not meant to be, and there's a kind of an offset here off the center line, I'm just going to help it with the lever a little bit. Alright, so popped it over the leverless Duckhead, even though I'm using a lever, and now we can lift up. I'm going to push the other side of the tire so it drops into the drop center. And now we can turn and should be able to lift that up. That's a little too much. You can just see how strong this thing is. All right, so let me reset that. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead now and just finish it off with the levers instead of using the Duckhead. I don't think it's meant to be for this size diameter rim. I don't want to break anything or break my adapters because it literally ripped the whole thing off because of the offset that's accumulated because of a smaller diameter. If I were doing a larger diameter, it's no issue because it would be closer and centered on the actual rim and follow the contour of a larger radius. Because this is set and it's kind of fixed at a certain radius and a certain curvature, like on the rim. So when you go to a smaller diameter rim, there'll be a gap on one side, and I think that's creating a problem. So I don't want to break my machine here in any way. We're just going to rip this off with some levers, just like I showed you in the first attempt. These wheels are absolutely disgusting. So I'm just gonna make sure these things don't get too beat up, because I like to use these for other things. So that's the thing, you know, when you use your tools, they end up getting chewed up, beat up. It's just part of doing business, I guess. But these work great. These are this is a 20-inch, this smaller one, and this must be a 24-inch, because I have two of them, three in total, but two 24 inches, and they work great. All right, so let's remove that inner tube once again. As you can see, this thing is full of rust. The whole inside of that rim is full of rust. There was like a half a pound of dust and rust that came off that first one. All right, there you have it. You have the second one apart, and the inside is just full of moisture and like rot from the rim. The rim on the inside here, I'm like almost a little worried it's not going to seal if I do a tubeless tire on it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean these up and see what I think about the condition of them. If I'm really worried, I'm going to have to use another tube just to be safe. But let me go ahead and clean this up, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. Alright, so welcome back. I'm actually here on a different day, and I want to finish up these rims and tires on this trailer. So I went ahead and bought a brand new inner tube for both sides, as well as refinished, or somewhat refinished, these rims. As you can see, they look pretty decent now. They were absolutely disgusting. It was about a pound of dust and tire slime and some kind of like sealant on the inside of the rim here that like was just absolutely disgusting, and like was in need of a full cleaning and just a rattle can spray finish just to get it somewhat decent. And I sanded everything down, of course, before that. But this is what they look like now. They're ready to mount the tube and the tire on there, and let's do that right now. I went ahead and chose these tires right here from Amazon. They are the Max Auto brand, and they're 16 by 6.5 by 8-inch rim. So they got the sipes on the tread, should be pretty decent for the job that I have for this trailer. It's not, you know, super critical to be any particular tire. I just need to get a tire on there. So let's go to the machine now and get these mounted up and get on with the process and put them on the trailer. Let's try that again. I didn't get to fully seat that bead, so let's reattempt that. Kind of want to start with this arm, the assist arm, on, you know, about 5-6 inches away from this roller here. Normally you would use a Duckhead, but this Duckhead is so large that I don't think it's going to work with this small 8-inch diameter wheel. So that's why I'm using it in this kind of fashion. I just mounted the first tire on the rim, and it worked out just fine. You just got to get it just right, and then work the bead underneath the rim into the drop center, and it goes. I might have to come closer with this. I think that's what's going on here. Alright, that should do it. Also got to watch out for the valve stem. It wants to like rotate around because the tube on the inside. There we go. We got a perfect seat. Just going to shift that around so the valve stem is nice and perpendicular, you know, normal to the surface here. As you saw, I inflated the tube a little bit just to settle that tube on the inside. I don't want it to be all kinked and laying incorrectly inside there, so that's why I kind of pre-filled it just with a PSI or so to inflate the tube to get the wrinkles out. But as you can see, this is pretty much done. Go ahead here and clean this lube off. this tire paste, believe it or not, will dry and evaporate. It doesn't make the rim sticky or, you know, make the tire slip on the rim. If you buy the proper tire paste, the Euro paste, it actually will just evaporate and dry out, and it actually helps the tire grip onto the rim better. Everything looks good, everything's seated. Now we can air up. I'm trying to reach for the pedal here on the side of the machine. This chuck is kind of finicky on this machine. I have to replace it at some point. I don't like how it feels. I pretty much have to put pressure on it once I have the valve core in there. Typically you wouldn't have the valve core in there. I'm just watching the air gauge right now. I'm bringing it up to 20 psi, which is completely safe for this. I have to put pressure on it in order for it to actually deliver air into the tire when I have the valve stem in there. If I had it out, it wouldn't be a problem. It would just flow right through. But that's just like one minor thing I might improve on this machine. But here it is, a finished wheel and tire assembly. This is going to go back on the trailer now and provide me years of service. Alright guys, so that's it. Pretty much we have the tires all set to go back on the trailer. The process was pretty simple, as you can see. There's a couple of techniques I use with the lube, and you know, I use a different method with the roller and the assist arm here. To install this tire on here, and it actually worked out great. Didn't need the Duckhead at all. So I'll be bringing more videos to you guys when it comes to tire mounting and balancing. If that's something you're interested in, stay tuned. But that's it for now, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please place them right down below. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.